5 feminine traits men find irresistible in women. Now, if you know these traits, you'll be able to have men eating out of the palm of your hand, wanting to date you, commit to you, be with you as much as possible. If you don't embrace these traits, if you don't know these traits and embody them, then you're going to find men losing interest. They're going to be ghosting. They're going to be rejecting. They're going to be choosing other women to spend their time with. And ultimately, you can end up alone, which we don't want. So if you like this video, if you like what I'm wearing, if you like anything, please give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, subscribe, and also share this video with any other single girlfriends that you feel could benefit from hearing these messages, hearing these teachings. And also comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What does being feminine mean to you? What does being feminine mean to you? So, hi, I'm Broderick Boyd, or you can call me Brody. I'm the husband of Antia, and for over 13 years, I've been helping single, successful men to attract the right woman for them. So I have a unique perspective into what makes the male brain tick, and I'm also the husband of Antia. So make sure to stay tuned for these great traits that'll help you in attracting your guy to you quickly. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So trait number 5 is playful, playfulness. So why is this trait? What is playfulness, first off? So playfulness is when you're tapping into that little girl energy within you, that you're having fun, you're able to take things lightly, you're able to be spontaneous, you're able to tease, you're able to flirt, you're taking life more lightly. It's really the opposite of being closed off, having trust issues, being rigid. So it's really this little girl flow. It's this little girl flow and approach towards life. And with a man, that you're able to have fun, you're able to let your hair down, you're able to enjoy yourself, you're able to, go with the flow in a lot of ways. So why is it so important? Because a man really needs to feel, when he will feel that feminine energy, when he feels that sense of play, when he feels that sense of that childlike energy, which is one of the most feminine things about you, is the little girl that lives inside of you. That's one of the most feminine, compelling things that will attract a masculine man to you, to want to nurture, to want to take care of you, to want to commit to you, to want to be your hero. So the more you can let that out, the more he will be drawn to you. He'll be drawn into that energy. So you want to be embracing that energy. You want to be using that energy with your man. So how do you do this? So a lot of ways you can do this is just when you're with a man, saying some jokes, having fun, maybe a little bit teasing, maybe a little bit of flirting, really being willing to, maybe you guys are walking next to a swing, when you're walking somewhere and you just, all of a sudden you just go and jump on the swing and you start swinging on the swing, right? And he starts laughing. He's like, what are you doing? And then he jumps on the swing and then you start having fun together. Because that's the idea, is you really want like both of his little boy, you can actually activate his little boy with your little girl. And now you can be like two kids playing, like you're young, like you're just, on the playground, even the playground romance or that high school romance, right? It's very compelling no matter what age you are at. You can draw that out within yourself and then draw that out within him. So it's very compelling. Some other ways you can play is just to be that sense of play in the world. So to have fun with your meal, have fun with, like you're trying something out that you've never tried before. When you're on the date, you're maybe having a drink or an exotic, a fun drink or some food that's really interesting. Like I had the other day, some really interesting shellfish. It was the ones at a sushi restaurant. It was really a seafood buffet and it had like the spiral shells. And my friends were like looking at me like, wow, I can't believe you're eating that. And I was just like, like, oh, this is actually really good. So something like that, that's like, you make it fun, right? So an example of this also is when I met Antia, she was really good at just like, she would dance. She would just do these spontaneous dances when we were like in the room together, just talking or just hanging out, or she would celebrate, something good happened and she would be like, and she'd like jump up and down, just like really doing her own thing in her own world. It's very feminine, very attractive. So that's a great example of that as well. So trait number 4 is caring. So why is it so important to be caring? Because a man fundamentally, biologically, is going to be attracted to that nurturing, almost motherly energy inside of you. Now, it's not about being a mom, being a mother to him, because that'll just pull him into his little boy, but to see that you can be a good mom. You can have that nurturing energy if you were to have kids together, and or if not, that will be also compelling to a man from a biological level, because evolutionarily men are programmed to procreate, as are women. We want to procreate, and that's part of that is the gender roles of a father and a mother. And so that can be very attractive to a man, to feel that you could actually take that role. That's what creates that polarity, that creates that masculine feminine chemistry, right? The only thing that creates chemistry and attraction is masculine feminine polarity. So you can really demonstrate this with that caringness, with that nurturingness towards him. If he's having a bad day, say, how are you feeling? Or giving him a hug, putting your arm around him, and just saying, like, do you want to talk about it? Or, what do you need right now? Or what can I do to help? Or do you want me to make you a smoothie or something? You want me to make you some soup? That caring energy can really show him that you have that inside of you, and not that you don't also want to become a doormat, where you're just using that as a technique to get him to like you, but tap into that authentic mothering, nurturing energy that you can bring out at the right moments, and bring out within yourself, that he can see that part in you, and that part in you, and will make it very compelling to him. So how are some other ways you can do this? Well, you can really demonstrate this by also how you treat other people. So he can see you, being caring to little kids, being that nurturer to other kids, or to maybe your mom, or somebody that he gets to see, maybe just somebody at the restaurant. If you're on a date, being really, if the waiter is like having a hard day, say, like, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. We appreciate you. And he'll feel like, wow, she's really seems like a really kind-hearted woman. And that'll be very compelling as well. And I know Antia, when we were dating in the early stages, she was also very willing to comfort me when I was having a hard time, when I was, either sick. I don't know if I was necessarily sick, but, maybe having some uncertainty, some fear, uncertainty around my next steps in my career, my purpose. And she would just, be there, whether it's just cuddling or hugging, or just being accepting, right, of where I was at, and not trying to like pressure me or criticize me during those times. And that was really wrapped me in and made me feel like, wow, I could really see this as a life partner. So very attractive. And now, if you want to talk more about this, and if you have more questions about any of these principles, I highly recommend joining our free Facebook group. It's called Magnetize Your Man: Dating Tips, Support, and Dating Advice for Women. You can also join it by going to mymfbgroup.com, which is here on the screen, or in the comments below in the description as well. And we do a lot of great other shares and tips in that group. So I highly recommend joining that. Now let's get into trait number 3, which is authenticity, being authentic. Now, this is a very key feminine trait. And first off, what is authenticity? Authenticity is really you being willing to be vulnerable, being your real self, showing those parts that you might be scared to share. Your quirks, the things that make you might think weird, the things that make you different than other people, almost to an extreme. Like, what are those extreme parts of you that are just very different? When you're feeling emotions, actually letting him see those emotions, because he's going to know something's going on anyway. So you might as well just show them, because part of feminine energy is that feminine flow of the emotions, right? It's like the ocean. The femininity is like the ocean. The masculinity is like the rock, steady rock. But the feminine flows. It's like the weather. It changes, just like on a monthly cycle, right? It's constantly changing. And it's okay. That's actually a feminine trait that will be attractive to a masculine man. So when you're feeling those emotions, when you're feeling a certain way, like, be willing to share that, be willing to show that, and flow with it, and not to make it mean anything, and not to be making it wrong, but just to be in it, that it's okay that you have emotions. And that'll be attractive when he sees that you actually own that. And why is this so important? It's so important because it'll show him that you are feminine, that you do have feelings, that you actually are in touch with your feelings, that you flow with your feelings, you're okay with feeling emotions, and being yourself. Being yourself is also a sign of confidence. Oscar Wilde said, nobody can be you better than you. So you might as well be you, right? And so embrace it, embrace that uniqueness. And it'll also show him who you really are. And that will be compelling. Actually, your uniqueness is one of the most seductive things about you, because there's nobody else with your exact makeup, DNA-wise, personality-wise. So you are a scarce resource. You are a scarce and valuable resource. So own it and demonstrate it. How are some ways, some other ways you can embody this is by sharing stories, sharing some unique stories from your life that demonstrate your personality, demonstrate your lifestyle. So share, experiences you had the last weekend, when you were younger, anytime really. Give him a glimpse into your world and ride those emotions as you share the story. Whether it's a high of you're just really happy, you're really excited, or it's a low of, I was really scared and it was really sad when that happened. And when I found out that news, and I cried for a while, but, after I processed it, I felt a lot better, so whatever that journey was for you, share that with him. I remember when I met Antia, there was a moment when we were in a hot tub together. This was like maybe 3 weeks after we met. And I was asking her some questions about her financial situation and her life situation. And she started really getting emotional. And even you might say having a breakdown. Now I was part of me was like, whoa, this is a lot. I don't want to get involved with this. And I was part of me did kind of pull back a little bit, but another part of me was like compelled, for one, because I activated my nurturing instinct. I wanted to kind of protect her. I wanted to help her. And then the other part of it was I felt that femininity. I felt that uniqueness about her. She was willing to show me that dark place, show me her emotions and not really hold it back. And that was actually really compelling to me, even though it was a little scary at the time. But then looking back, I'm like, oh, that was actually pretty cool that she shared that with me. So, again, you don't want to just dump everything on him and you don't want to be hyper emotional, but you can give him those glimpses and show him that and be authentic in that sense. And if you are just emotional mess, maybe you do need to get some help, and that's what our coaching helps with in what we do in our group and in our coaching programs. But, or you might need some more heavy therapy, but showing those emotions, that's going to be a compelling part. You don't need to be so afraid of, being rejected or what he might think of those. Oftentimes it'll be the very thing that pulls him forward towards you. Trait number 2, creativity, being creative. So what is creativity? Creativity is you tapping into that artistic part of you, that what I think is the right brain part of you, that is more intuitive, that is more imaginative. And this goes a lot along with the playfulness we talked about earlier. But it really is that imagination, that spontaneity, also that creativity, the right brain. It is not logic. It is not structure. It is not, action, checking things off a to-do list. It's the opposite of that, which is a big part of feminine energy. Masculine energy is very logical and structured and let's get things done. Feminine energy is very intuitive, flowing, creative, spontaneous, playful. So embracing that creative part, whether that's showing him your creative talents. Maybe you have a talent for art, of drawing, painting, crafting things. Maybe you're good at dancing. Maybe you're good at singing. Find those opportunities to express that. Maybe it's with him. Maybe it's showing him a video if it comes up and he's like, oh yeah, I want to see that. Or it could just be when you're with him, showing your creativity through your jokes, through your choice in food, your choice in drinks, your choice in clothes, your choice in conversation topics, your choice in, like Antia she loves to ask this question in dating, which is, if you were a kitchen utensil, what would you be? Or if you were a chocolate, what type of chocolate would you be? Or if you were a country, what country would you be? Or if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? So these are like fun, creative topics that can bring out a lot of creativity in him as well, and then give you a chance to show some of your creativity, your playfulness in the conversation. So that can be really attractive as well and show that feminine trait of creativity. So very helpful with that. Now, also, if you haven't yet, I'd highly recommend to get this more specific knowledge about yourself and what actually makes you the most attractive through taking our free quiz that we created and getting your custom gifts and resources, which you can go to Attract Your Man, which you can get by clicking the link in the description below or in the comments. I think we'll post it there, or go to mymquiz.com, mymquiz.com, or you could also go to our website, magnetizeyourman.com, magnetizeyourman.com. So I highly recommend taking that if you haven't as well. And finally, let's get into trait number 1, which is happiness. Happiness, to be happy. Now, what is happiness? Happiness is you letting yourself feel joy, letting yourself feel pleasure, letting yourself feel enjoyment, letting yourself feel fun, having fun when you're with a man. Why is this so attractive to a man? Because it shows that you are open to life. You're open to experiencing and receiving, more importantly. Now, receiving is a very key feminine trait. The masculine is about giving and pleasing and penetrating. The feminine is about receiving and enjoying, right? And following. So by you being happy and showing when you're experiencing pleasure or joy of life or something he did for you, if he opens a door for you, or if he did, came to give you something when you were not feeling well, or he wrote you a really nice, message, giving that smiley face, smiling is a key piece of it. It's very attractive, draws people to you. It's like being the sun, not the planets, being the flame, not the moths, right? The smile draws people in. It's also part of that playfulness, that little girl energy, right? Having joy. I like to sometimes make fun of my wife and say she's like a pleasure receptor, right? When I'm like tickling her on her arm and she's like, oh, and I'm like, you're such a pleasure receptor. So it's like, how can you be that pleasure receptor? So when a man is doing something you enjoy, that you definitely let him know. You make it very clear you're enjoying that and that you're happy with that. That's how you reward a man. That's how you train him, in a sense, to be your king, to be your hero, to want to provide for you, because he can feel that he's winning with you, that his efforts actually have fruit, his efforts making a difference, and you're valuing him. A big part of masculinity for men is feeling valued. They want to have what they do be appreciated. And if it's not appreciated, they're going to go to somebody who does appreciate who they are and what they can do. Or it could be a job also, but it's also, that's that fundamental need to feel appreciated. So letting yourself feel that enjoyment, letting yourself feel that pleasure. So what are some other ways you can do that? Appreciating him and saying, thank you, saying, you're my hero. I love it when you do that, or it's so sexy when you do that. Of course, we talked about smiling, but it could also be about, saying, moaning in a sense. Of course, this can be definitely applied to sex, but it could just be in general situations, moaning if he's giving you a massage. It could just be having a happiness towards life, skipping when you're walking down the street, or dancing or singing, we talked about, and really expressing that letting your song go out into the universe, right? Singing your song. And some other ways that I know Antia has done this is she goes, yippee, 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 which is like that childlike part, right? But whenever something happens that really you're enjoying, you just go, yippee, like you're that kid on the playground. It's a great way of sharing that part of you and being very attractive as well. So hope this was enjoyable for you. Hope this was helpful for you. Now, what I recommend next is watching the powerful video that I made on the 5 keys to make him respect you. If you haven't seen that video already, I'm going to put it over here. So click that video now, check it out. I know you're going to love it as well. And keep watching, because these principles are really going to help you, especially if you implement them. So much love, and I will talk to you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.